CouchUp is, without a doubt, one of the most unique channels on the platform, with their untraditional outlook on comedy and focus on absolute chaos. Besides that, it's probably not a channel you've heard in a while. Hell, if you're newer to YouTube, you might not have even heard about them at all. Overall, they're an interesting case study into how a lack of adaptation can destroy a YouTube channel. CouchUp, at its core, is a brand, a company with employees that need to be properly compensated for either their work on or off screen, something they would struggle to do in later years because the channel wasn't doing so well. Despite a loss of memorable participants in the channel, they still continued to pump out the same content. People began to stop watching their channel because it was more of the same, but without the cast that made it special. Their unwillingness to adapt resulted in the downfall of their channel, gradually losing subscribers since they formally quit on December 31st, 2019. But this video isn't about CouchUp. They are the antecedent. This video will discuss the channel that was created as a child of CouchUp, the successor to one of the greatest channels on YouTube. And that channel is OFFCANNY. But first, ladies and gentlemen, we got a sponsor. Yeah, I'm moving up in the world, baby. This video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends, baby. We all know that I love and appreciate iOS and Android titles, so this is the perfect game for my channel. This game is oriented around lore, and no better instance of it than with the Doom Tower, a fortress falling due to powerful magic from Searoth, one of the bosses. To stop them, you need to form an army of champions and go through each level. The lower levels are pretty easy, but progressively get more difficult as you go up. You'll need to experiment a bit with combat, as some bosses, like the Scarab King, which is the coolest name I've ever heard, require a bit of thought. Raid also just released a new feature titled Awakening to bless your champions, giving them even more power, and the new and monstrous Iron Twins Fortress. As well as this, there's a new champion titled the Ultimate Death Knight, which you can get for free by logging into Raid for 7 days in between now and October 27th. If you get the game right now and use the promo code DKRises, you'll get a bunch of free items and be able to level up one of your new champions to level 50. Just like that. To get the game, all you need to do is click the link in the description or scan my QR code on screen. You'll automatically get the champion Rector Drath, 200,000 silver, an energy refill, an EXP boost, and an ancient shard. And it also helps out the channel a ton. Thanks for listening, and let's get back to the video. OFFCANNY has similar values to that of CouchUp, focusing on absurdist satire and trying to learn new skills. It feels somewhat like The Office in this regard, awkward interactions with people that are trying to take their job seriously.
Hello!
Hello, Jakob.
I get nervous making eye contact. I always get nervous making eye contact. I'm fine before the cameras turn on, and then the cameras turn on.
This channel too suffers from some of the same problems that CouchUp did, the main one being an overall change in members. To understand the full scope of the channel, we need to discuss the 5 people that we know of that have worked on the channel: Alec Paul, Garrett Westley Thomas, Trevor Schmidty, Adri, and most importantly, Jakob Morris. Jakob is the one
constant in a sea of variables.
If you don't get that reference, check out my Mr. Robot video. Also, join my Discord server. Link down below. These are all personalities on the CouchUp channel. Alec was added to the roster in 2019, and Garrett was the latest addition, coming a few months before the channel's demise. Adri worked in the background, Trevor had his fair share of work on and off camera, and Jakob was in a similar situation to Trevor, although he also had to handle a lot of the editing process behind the scenes. Jakob and Alec were the co-creators of the OFFCANNY channel, with the goal being to make it a full-time job. They would promote the channel through CouchUp and upload a teaser trailer on April 8th, 2019. This trailer is a good indication on what the channel would become. It depicted heavily edited visuals and rap music, something that would transfer to the majority of their heavily edited intros. On that topic, the intro sequences are what set this channel apart from others. Jakob would marginally remix every song used, giving it a very specific vibe that fit the feeling of the imagery. The tempo of the song would speed up as the initial warning for the content of the video played. All of the songs are slowed and reverbed, a rich and deep tone throughout many of the videos. This combined with the crazy visual style puts this channel on another level. This is what I'll call the Alec Era, building the foundation that would set the precedent for what's to come. The first proper video they would upload was titled How to Start a Business, a video where a decent chunk of CouchShop's audience would transfer over, allowing this video around 175,000 views a month after its release. By no means are these incredible numbers, especially considering that CouchShop was nearing the 1 million milestone at the time. Obviously, they're a bit over 800k now, but before, there was still a dedicated audience that was willing to stay for the ride of this new channel. Comparatively to CouchShop's newer videos, it did fairly well. There was creative editing, that perfect sense of humor, and an element of chaos. It was toned down quite a bit from what CouchShop usually has, but it was still there in bulk.
Can everyone play Minecraft on their dash?
This trend would continue for the next 3 videos, spanning from mid-April to late October of 2019. During this period, they would use tasers and, blow up a car. Yeah, this is a real thing that happened, and it clearly wasn't planned.
Alec, I might have taken it too far.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit.
They're fine. Nobody was in serious danger, but wow. Fun stuff, I guess? Yeah? Funny? As I stated before, Garrett joined the CouchShop channel in mid to late 2019, which means he would transfer over to OFFCANNY as well. On October 25th, the video DIY Chemical Warfare would be uploaded, featuring the titular trio that this channel is most known for. But this period of comedic bedlam would only last for so long, since Alec would leave the channel for good in early 2020. He never had a proper statement, Jakob opting to reveal the situation to the public for him. His Reddit post reads as follows. Early January, Alec quit. He decided it'd be best for him to return to school and live anonymously due to extreme anxiety and conflict with his family. As he told me, he has zero interest in returning to any online presence. It wasn't the content of our videos or interpersonal issues, but rather something he's felt since working at CouchShop. He just doesn't feel this is for him. It's taken some time for me to communicate this because of the nature of why he left. I don't want to compound any existing anxiety he may be experiencing by choosing the wrong forum. As for what this means to OFFCANNY, outside of his presence on camera, Alec even made the point to me that he never contributed equal share. The last 5 releases, excluding the Patreon video, have been planned independently of him. I really love doing this. I feel blessed to have the opportunity. We've just started. We're not stopping here. I don't much like the drama of these things. It's all meant to be fun. I hope you guys can join me in cracking jokes about it. TLDR, Alec died of rickets.
Oh, I bid farewell to the port and the land.
This was just the beginning of a vicious cycle that plagued the channel ever since. Nothing was ever super stellar behind the scenes, and it continued this way through what I'm titling the Garrett Era. This is where some issues would begin to culminate, albeit subtly. From the outside, everything feels very ordinary. Garrett and Jakob's personalities work well with each other, especially in their videos regarding ghost hunting, acting, and most importantly, becoming knights with Jay Schlatt. This was a big moment for them that skyrocketed their channel forward, the video sitting at a hefty 2.2 million views today. In September of 2020, they would receive 85,000 views, and in October of that same year, they would receive 1.2 million, 14 times what they got the previous month. With that said, you can still feel some issues coming to the surface a bit. The conflict in the video "We Went Camping" feels very staged. It feels like they're playing it up for the camera because, to a certain extent, they are. Regardless, there is still conflict nonetheless. On a more positive note, this is where the channel would really come into its own. It felt like its own presence at this point.
So do I have to be gay?
You have to be gay.
You're gay.
But that's not the character. You're going to be gay. Now you have to be, your actual full name is Stephen Gay, but here it's Gay.
Awesome.
And then,
Of course, not every video had an intro sequence, but when they did it, it was always magical. To be honest, they're where I get a lot of my inspiration for my editing, both on YouTube and in my personal life. They took this semi-vlog style and shaped it into something cynical and jocular. The video "We Became Knights" featuring Jay Schlatt was a real turning point for the channel, a perfect high for the whirlwind of sorrow that was to come. October 31st, 2020. The video "We Learned to Box" was uploaded, and frankly, it's their magnum opus. Immediately after the title card plays, you can tell something is off. The tone is softer, more cold. Jakob has always been an individual that smiles a lot, someone that radiates excitement, but that's completely departed from this. Even the comedic moments feel marginally off, like there's something more serious in the works. And there was. The opening of the video starts out with a question. A man behind the camera asks Jakob why he decided to pursue this video in the first place, to which he responds that he doesn't know.
What made you want to do this video?
I really don't know, honestly.
Switching to Garrett, he says that Jakob simply wants to fight him.
Jakob just wants to fight me. I know, I feel it. Jakob really wants to fight me.
The lighting and direction the two men are facing tell a story. Jakob faces to the left side of the frame, a neon OFFCANNY logo held behind him on a white wall. The room, while still somewhat dimly lit, is bright. It feels vibrant, from the chair Jakob's sitting in to the color of his sweatshirt. Cutting to Garrett, he's facing to the right of the frame, indicating that there's a disconnect between the two individuals. His room is a lot darker. There are less directional lights, and the color palette itself feels duller. You won't be doing this kind of analyzing upon these first 2 shots, but I think you'll subconsciously note it. The opening response only begs one question. Why does Jakob want to fight Garrett? There's this stark contrast throughout the entirety of the video, and it's mainly shown in the types of preparation they did for the fight and what took place before it. Jakob's routine was with a genuine boxer, someone that has awards in the field. This is not what Garrett did. Garrett wrestled with a bunch of his friends in a backyard. I'm serious. Very little preparation actually went into his side of the fight. To make matters even worse, Garrett's footage is blown out. To put it in simple terms, it means that too much light was captured by the camera, and it makes everything look super bright and white, and Garrett didn't have a proper response for why this is.
Could care less about footage.
Did you go to like film school or something?
I dropped out.
Midway through filming the video, Jakob admits that he broke up with his girlfriend, resulting in a serious low point in his life. That is why his energy feels strange. It felt like something was wrong with him, and with that revelation, it all makes sense.
So when we started this video, I had a girlfriend. By the middle point of this video, I did not have a girlfriend. We broke up, and that was kind of a big blow for me. Why are you laughing at this? This is real. This is my real life. I live this.
Despite this, it gave him a way to motivate himself into training harder. Here comes the final day. They've trained for presumably around 2 months for this, and then Garrett doesn't show up. Garrett had told Jakob to get an extra hour of preparing time, a lie used to sleep in on that day.
I wake up the morning of the fight. Everything's sorted. I'm getting gear sorted in the morning, picking up the last things. Everybody shows up except him.
I knew Jakob would be a little bit flustered by me showing up an hour late. I told him to get another hour to set up, but that's just because I wanted to sleep in.
Do you care that you wasted not only Jacob's time, but like my time and like everyone else is on set?
No, I don't care. I could care less. I could give 2 your time.
He's depicted as villainous through the use of music. Garrett neglected planning for the event at all, even after Jakob had specifically requested for him to find a referee. They do eventually fight. It's not perfect. A lot of the moves are sloppy, but this is their first time doing it properly. Halfway through, you can hear Jakob sniffling. He's crying, ordering for the fight to be called off. At the end of the video, they're both asked if their respect for one another has changed after filming such an eventful project. Garrett states that he thinks of Jakob more highly, whereas Jakob thinks worse of Garrett. As you might have suspected, this is the last appearance that Garrett ever has on the channel. In the same vein as the last Reddit post for Alec, Jakob writes the following. I made this post on Patreon, but I figured I'd mirror it here for clemency's sake. August of last year, I attempted. Since then, my mental and physical health has only continued to spiral downwards. I've reached a threshold where these issues and their origins must be addressed to avoid continued escalating. I share this because my steps to get well consequently affect OFFCANNY. Garrett is no longer a part of the channel by my decision. Working with him caused me crippling anxiety for a year developing. This is not an invitation to make speculative claims or direct hostility towards any party. Despite the circumstances, we're both equally entitled to privacy and respect. In lieu, you can most often expect Trevor, ModestCube, to appear. His involvement will be limited to that of a guest, which there will be continued incorporations when possible. Expectations can be set by the stunt video, as it was put together independently by me. I'll probably be a bit funnier in the future though, since my grandpa despawned the week leading to that shoot. All out of grandparents now though, so we're in the clear. Other changes I'm making to improve my health are developing or private. I've avoided speaking to this immediately, as I wanted to be better when I did. But better looks farther away than ever now. I don't want to be dishonest. I'd be happy to answer any questions within reason, and for those of you who will be done watching, thank you for your time. This is a key point in how Jakob would utilize the channel moving forward. On Couch Shop and the earlier videos before this, he felt so giddy and full of excitement.
We can do whatever we want with it. I bought it.
But now, that's all lost. He's quieter and less exaggerated. This genuinely changed him. As for the fate of the channel, the fate was positive. One of the main issues beforehand with the channel is that Jakob and Alec didn't fully know each other. They had clearly worked on Couch Shop together, but they didn't have this tight friendship that I think Trevor and him have now. This is the modern era of the channel, the Trevor era, if you will. For a brief time during 2021, Jakob would get prominent e-celebrities on the channel for appearances, ranging from crank gameplays to the fabled Baby No Money. Of course though, not everything nowadays is perfect. On their Patreon, there's one public podcast that gets into the nitty-gritty of their lives. Why am I not choosing a podcast that's behind a paywall? It's protected, and it would be morally wrong if I were to upload clips of it, which is my roundabout way of saying I'm poor. They talk about pretty heavy topics, which I will play for you now.
I was explaining what they were, and she's like, those are panic attacks. And I was like, but they're really short. I'll get this like pent up feeling, and it like builds into my chest, and it feels like it's like I can't breathe.
Yeah.
And my chest tightens up, and I just get up and I stand in a corner and I scream. and it's gone. Or the other day, like it was like midday and I wasn't doing anything and my mind was completely empty, and I just broke down crying for like 2 minutes straight, and then it just stopped.
That's how it feels sometimes. Afterwards, it's just like, man, why'd I do that?
During this new era, they've uploaded some classics, such as We Got Girlfriends and Demolition Derby. As for the future of the channel, it feels very finite. Trevor is now working at OTK with Schlatt and Mizkiv, and has been returning to streaming recently. He does both camera work and behind-the-scenes editing for the channel, and things appear to be going very well. As for Jakob, you're just going to need to trust me on what I'm about to tell you. The Patreon exclusive breakdowns of their videos are first streamed on Twitch before they're deleted immediately after. This means that you essentially can bypass the paywall by being there early. I've done this, although I don't have a clip to prove it, so if you do subscribe to their Patreon, you can write a comment verifying what I'm saying. That would be genuinely appreciated. Jakob has gone on record and said that the channel will end eventually, probably within the next 3 years or so. He says that for his last hurrah, he wants to get really built and shoot a serious short film. And once that's out, disappear from the internet entirely. Everything he says can be somewhat dismantled under the guise of comedy, but I feel like he was being genuine here. If not for the working out portion, then with the short film and disappearance. He's a new man, and there's a big difference between him at the beginning of OFFCANNY in early 2019 and now. There are many budgetary and timing restraints that are difficult to work with on such an involved channel, since it's still relatively small and not financially stable. The channel will continue moving forward in the future, although its run will be limited. But that's all of the story of a time after Couch Shop. I hope you enjoyed.